All right, this next topic says, is working for big tech still prestigious? And someone has linked a video here from CNBC, and it says how working for big tech lost dream job status. Let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, welcome to NBC. I'm not going to support that. But before starting the video, I'm just going to go ahead and read this here. It says the ripple effects of tech layoffs have extended into 2024, with industry giants like Apple, Amazon, and Tesla joining the trend of downsizing the workforce. Despite the resilience of these companies in the market, investors remain unfazed by the layoffs. However, employees within the tech sector don't share the same optimism about its future. Watch the video to learn about tech workers' sentiments, considerations for aspiring big tech employees, and more. So the major question here that this gentleman is posting is working for big tech still prestigious? And my initial question to you would be, what are you comparing it against? What do you mean by prestigious? If by the traditional definition, which I think most people use, is the tech industry still a place where people want to go for a variety of reasons, right? Whether it's making your resume look good, whether it's the pay and the respect and the job title that you get. And those are kind of the assumptions that I'll be using, but there could be other criteria that people use to determine prestige. But let's just say for the sake of argument that those are the things. When you compare the tech industry to other industries like CPG or entertainment, fashion, whatever it might be, I think tech still has a premium, and there's still not enough supply, meaning employees and workers, to fulfill all the demand, which is why it's so hard to get into the Googles, the OpenAIs, the NVIDIAs, because there's only a limited number of positions and a lot of people want those jobs. And there's just not a lot of people with the right credentials, the right knowledge, the right skills to be able to perform in those jobs. And so if you use that metric, the difficulty of getting into a role, and you use that as also a signal to determine prestige, then yeah, I think there's still an opinion that big tech is still prestigious. Now, of course, within tech itself, tech is such a big industry itself. And you mentioned here big tech, I'm assuming you're talking about the big seven, but there's also a lot of great startups and companies that may not qualify as a big tech or a tier 1, tier 2 company that might have that potential, and they will one day. And so going after those jobs and opportunities, I think, is still a valid option. I also think that when you get into a big tech company, the reason why it's still prestigious is that number one, it's hard to get into. And then of course, number two, there's also a lot of respect from not just the tech industry, but any industry. Having Google or Apple on your resume opens a lot of doors. For me personally, my first job coming out of undergraduate was, I worked for a very small investment firm. And then after that, I went to go work for Hewlett Packard. And that's exactly why I decided to move down to the Bay Area. And if I hadn't gotten that opportunity to work at HP, I don't think I would have gotten the opportunity to go to Apple, which then unlocked an opportunity and a job offer at Google, and then so on and so on and so on. And so I think having this on your resume, I think definitely helps. And as you gain experience in one company, a lot of that is transferable, which is why I think it's oftentimes easier to get referrals and interviews when you have something on your resume already. And so, I think it unlocks a lot of opportunities having that on your resume. So I would say, yeah, big tech is still prestigious. Of course, the article and the video mentioned, layoffs and the fact that there's a turmoil. This is just the lay of the land. This is what happens in the economy. Things go well, things don't go well, and recessions happen, bull markets happen, and this is just the way things are. And of course, tech is a little bit more sensitive, I think, to layoffs than maybe other industries, and that's just part of the game. But I think most people who do get impacted from big tech, especially if they have a good network and they have an updated resume and they have skill sets that are valued in the industry, they can find a job in a couple months. Might be a little bit more harder now, but I think there's still a lot of advantages of having tech on your background that can open a lot of opportunities down the road. So yeah, maybe there's a little bit of shine and luster off of the so-called dream job label for big tech, but for I think the majority of the people out there, 99% of the population, getting a big tech job is still better than, I would say, 95% of the jobs in the marketplace. So take it for what you will, but those are my opinions.